Hello everybody, hi, this is Stefano from DK Crafts, and I want to talk to you about a few simple things when it comes to begin working with wire and making wire wrapped pieces. So when I started, I only had available a round wire. The existence of stuff like square wire or half round wire was a mystery to me. So at the very beginning I had to figure out a way of tying together the wire and pretty much creating pieces only using round wire. And that's one of the main reasons why I ended up learning a lot about wire weaving. The concept of wire weaving is the same as basket weaving or something like that, or a textile art where you use some base wires and then you use a thinner wire to tie them together. And the fun part about wire weaving is that depending on the way you do it, you can pretty much create any sort of pattern. But like in this example, I use the wire weaving just to tie together the four pieces, and as you can see, this is a very basic kind of design. It's a cage like design for the stone. It's one of the simplest techniques, but then the wire weaving can be used in a lot of other things, and one of my favorite things to do is creating patterns that can be replicated on both sides specularly and that kind of things, and create nice intricate pieces, intricate designs, and it can be used in a lot of different ways. So I thought that the very first thing I'd like to show you is how to tie together some wires in a simple way. So when I first started, I got a few pliers, simple. You don't really need that much to start. You need a wire cutter. If you can, try to get one like this, which is a flush cutter, because one side of the cutter, this one, will always give you a flush cut rather than a pointy one. I don't know if you can see in this piece of wire, you see it's pointy. If I use the flush cutter this way, it's much flasher, it's safer, and it's easier to use in general. So what I'm gonna start with is a simple 18 gauge 1mm wire. I'm gonna cut 4 pieces of it. Now, one of the things you want to do is to try and straighten out your wire as much as possible. When you take it off the spool, it's more or less gonna be bent, kind of like this. So my suggestion would be just get a cloth and run your wire in it a few times. As you see, it smooths out and it turns out to be quite much easier to work with. So just because this is a simple demonstration on wire weaving, I'm not gonna cut long pieces. I'm just gonna cut a few small pieces, and I'm going to repeat the same thing for the other 4 pieces of wire, 3 pieces of wire. Now we'll just use the first one as a measure, so more or less we use the same length for each of the wires. Yes, you can use a cloth or you can use your finger to straighten out the wire, it doesn't really matter. You can also use a nylon tip plier, but that will not be available to everybody, and sometimes, you know, it's easier to just use what you have available. So rather than go and buy a lot of stuff to start out, just get some wire. You can get wire in your local craft store, and in most cases it would be aluminum wire or brass wire. Those are the easiest one to find. Normally I prefer to use copper, mainly because when I started it was easy to get some copper through an electrician friend and just strip it myself. Now I moved, so it's a little different now. I buy my spools, but so the idea would be to get these 4 pieces of wire together and tie them up So we'll start with one, and I'm going to use 4mm wire, 0.4mm wire, which, if I remember correctly, is 26 gauge, directly off the spool. Normally I work directly off the spool for the weaving wire. So we start with the first of the wires, and what we want to do is we want to tie the wire, the weaving wire, to the first of the wire, maybe 3, 4, 5 repetitions, something like that. I normally work from bottom to top, so it's easier for me to just show you this way. So now we got a few repetitions of the weaving wire around the base, the first base wire, and we are going to add the second one. So now this is one of the first weaves I've learned, and still today it's possibly my favorite one when it comes to tying together. So it can be used for bracelet making, it can be used for structural pieces where you don't really want the wires to have any kind of way. They need to be tied together. So we'll put the second one just beside the first one on top, and from the bottom we go up once, keeping tension, and then going backwards. I'm not going to tie the two of them together. I'm going to move my weaving wire in between the two and coming back up there. Now we are going to repeat the exact same thing with the third one. So we are going to go up one. I'm spreading them slightly apart to make it easier for maneuvering the weaving wire. So we're going up one, and then coming back down, we go up between the second and the third, pulling, keeping tension. And then now we are going to have the fourth one, the last one. So I'm going to add that to the stack as well, and repeat the exact same thing. Now, because we are coming up between the third and the fourth one, the natural progression is to just wrap around the fourth one. So as you see, you will have a pattern starting with the wrap around the first one only, and then the first and the second and the third and the fourth, and then the fourth only. From this point onward, I'll go back to the very first one and go around the first one, and I'll repeat between the first and the second, between the second and the third, between the third and the fourth, and then one wrap around the fourth. At this point, it's very important. I see a lot of people not doing this. So what I like to do is I put one of the pliers at the very beginning of my weave, and then with another pair of pliers I just push the weaves together, being careful. As you do that, the pattern kind of straightens out and becomes much tighter. So at this point I'm just going to repeat a few times. Again, third, and then the fourth, and then I wrap around the fourth, go back to the first, wrap around the first and second, second and third and fourth, and just around the fourth. And after a couple of repetitions, I'll do the exact same thing again, and I'll use one of my pliers to straighten this up. Now, as you can see, the wires are straightening up on their own as I go. And I'm gonna do another couple of repetitions, and this is gonna be it for this very quick demonstration as to how you can tie together wires if you don't have access to any other kind of wire other than round wire. Now, there we go, and we've got 6 repetitions, and as you can see, the wire is tied together. I can't really move it much in any direction, and from this point onwards you can use it as a base for other projects, or you can keep weaving. And if you keep weaving and you do the entire thing, maybe you start from this side and end up, rather than the middle, you start from this side. At this point, because the weave is not long, it can still be moved. So, like for example, if I was to move this down to this end and keep weaving up until this, near the very end, with the same pattern, I can turn this into an adjustable ring or something like that. But yeah, this was just to show you a simple weaving pattern, very, very effective. Just one more time, it's around the first and the second, and then coming up between the first and the second, then around the second and the third, and coming in between the second and the third, and then third and fourth, and then coming back up in between the fourth and the third and the fourth, and then just around the fourth. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3 and 4, and just 4. And that's basically it. I'm gonna tape more videos and show you a few more things in the next coming days, but for the moment this is kind of a trial video, so yeah. Thank you very much. Bye.